Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. You're joining the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It is episode 11 and it is my pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Tonchi Prusats and Josip, welcome to you as well. How are you?
Thanks, Tonchi. I'm good, thanks, mate. We've had a bit of another one of those wet weeks up here in Queensland, and it has been a quite saturated around the place. So we have spent a bit of time indoors, and there's been some cancellation of football activity. So that's put us in our boxes. But we're looking forward to the sunshine clearing that up for the weekend, mate.
Gosh, what is going on there? What is going on there with the crazy weather? Well, El Nino, the El Nino effect.
La Nina.
La Nina, El Nino and La Nina. That's right.
Yeah.
They are talking about that being a very, very wet, humid kind of a year. So I guess it's going to happen sooner or later. Mate, we've got a massive show. It's episode 11. A huge shout out to our business advertisers today, Your Business Insurance and Sportal Lajaya. They
Sports
are the
portal, mate.
Sports Portal. That's the one. That's it. Yeah. And Ahmed there at Lajaya doing a great job, and it must be an absolutely crazy time for them this time of year, trying to get all the kits out and trying to get all the equipment out. Mate, you would know all about it.
He's had a drop of some new product. He sent me the images today and the video.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, keep an eye on it for over the social media for it. It is hot.
Is it?
Hot. Yep.
Looking forward to it, mate.
Really
Can't
good.
wait for that to happen. That's going to be awesome. Mate, we're going to start off, I guess, on a little bit of a somber note, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
We are a Croatian. We are a Croatian soccer show, of course, but as part of our mission, we've also been paying homage to the forefathers of our community and the people that made the clubs that made the clubs great. But there was also not just the soccer people involved. There was a lot of other people involved in the communities over the years that have had a profound effect on the communities as well as the soccer clubs themselves. And we've had to say goodbye to two very, very dearly departed people.
Yeah. Today, as we saw a lot of people tuning in on the live stream for Vlc Josip Vranjes, his funeral being held at St Anthony's Catholic Parish in Geelong, in Bell Park, and it was a fantastic service there in Peter Comensoli. All the Croatian priests from the Melbourne Archbishop, from the Archdiocese. A fantastic eulogy held by long-term servant to the Croatian community, Paul Šarić, as well, outlining just how deeply involved our dearly departed brother Josip was. And
there's Paul right there.
Yeah, there's Paul there. Look, it's a sad and somber day, but he leaves a fantastic legacy. Anyone who's ever been to Sveti Leopold Mandić in Sunshine, my two children were two older children were christened.
Yeah.
Actually, they were all christened there, but two of them were christened by the late Father Josip. It's a church that when you walk in, it's gobsmacking, it's awe-inspiring. It's got a lot of art and culture about it. A lot of design factors by Charles Bilic, who's a world-renowned artist. And it's his legacy he left to the community. And I think the way he drew people in for those fundraisers for that church to build that bedrock for community is a testament to the man. And aside from the church, his fundraising efforts to wartime Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, was endless, and he was constantly at it and never relented from that effort and attitude towards our peace and freedom.
My own recollections of the man, I was in a previous life a journalist at the Hrvatski Vjesnik Croatian Herald, and around about the time that the church was built in Sunshine, I remember going there for a tour and talking to him, and it was like a child, a proud parent. That was his children, and he knew every stone, every rock that had been placed there. He knew every stained glass window and the history behind it. It was just incredible. And as you said, Josip, he does leave an incredible legacy for the community. And look, not just Sunshine. Australia-wide. Everyone
Australia-wide, yeah.
knew him. We talk about from a football point of view, from a soccer point of view. I think there was no priest more supportive of the soccer clubs themselves. He was a regular visitor to Melbourne Knights, regular visitor to St Albans Dynamo, even down at North Geelong Warriors as well towards the end there as well. He loved his football. I mean, we've said in a previous show, the legend of Josip when he first came to Australia as he was only, I think, his 20s, 30s or something like that.
Yeah.
The legendary story is that he trained with St Albans Dynamo, not to play, not to trial, but just to get to know the community, to stay fit and what you're not. And there was one well-known footballer at the time from Croatia who was renowned for swearing. And when someone goes to him, goes, "Oh, you can't swear. That's a priest over there." He goes, "That's not a priest. He's a footballer," or something along those lines.
That wouldn't be Josie, was it?
Oh. Legend says it, Yeah. But if anyone is on the chat and if they've got their own recollections and their own stories of the great man, please pass it on. But Josip Vranjes, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. I will surmise that just quickly with Father Josip. It's when I first heard about his passing, I couldn't help but think, but the two biggest impacts in our Croatian Catholic history in Melbourne and Victoria and even in Geelong are both Father Josip's. Kasic, Pokojni, and now Vranjes. They've both left an amazing legacy. Father Pokojni Kasic, we will well and truly know how and why he left his legacy about helping us all acclimatise and our families to a new nation and building that community around Sveti Nikola Tavelić. And now Father Josip with Sveti Leopold Magnic.
For the younger members for the younger generation, for those that are probably not familiar with who and what Veličas Josip Kasic was, ask your grandparents, ask your parents. Maybe they may know. He was a legendary figure and was known as the father of the Croatian community in Melbourne, in much the same way that Josip Vranjes was known as the father of the western suburbs and the entire region as the Geelong region as well. Yeah. Josip, it wasn't the only legendary icon of the Croatian community that passed away as well. We had another one as well from Sydney.
Yes, long-time servant to the Croatian community, particularly with newspaper, the Spremnost Hrvatski tjednik, and also the writer of Hrvatske zajednice in Australia is the late now Fabijan Lovokovic. I had the pleasure of meeting Pokojni Fabijan in New Zealand. He came to the tourney in 2010. And got to chat with the nice gentleman and talk about his stories in life. But at the tender age of 95, what a fantastic innings. He has left us on this earthly journey and begun his heavenly one.
Yeah, he was the founder, the editor, the alpha and omega of Spremnost Hrvatski tjednik, which was around for about 50 years. And I guess back in my day at the Vjesnik, they were seen as a little bit of a rival, but I can tell you the admiration for Pokojni Fabijan now was immense. The man was indeed an icon of the community. And what we got to remember, Josip, as well, back in those days, particularly the 60s, 70s, even the 80s, there was very little publicity, very little documented publicity of the Croatian football clubs. And it was the publications like the Spremnost, the Hrvatski tjednik in Melbourne, Hrvatski Vjesnik, Croatian Express later, and then Domovina now in recent times. They were the only way that a lot of the members of the Croatian community could find out any information, and in fact scores. We didn't. Yeah. We're lucky today. We've got internet. We've got social media. We've got live streaming of games. We can watch the Gold Coast Knights or Guelph Croatia or Adelaide Raiders or Sydney United. It doesn't matter. Back then you didn't have that, and people were so eager to go to the milk bar on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning to get their paper and just read a little bit. They had insatiable thirst for news, and that was the only thing providing it. So publications like Pokojni Lovokovic's Spremnost was so important to the Croatian community for generations.
I tell you, just a little story about picking up the Crow newspapers, and this is a testament to what Pokojni Fabijan left us. We'd go to Croatian school, and Adrian Kos.
Kosti. Yes.
Kossi, right? So Kossi and I went to school together, right? And we're at Crow school on a Saturday, and Kossi he used to get tasked by his older brothers to take the Tjednik and Vjesnik later on to school to hand out to us, to sell to us, and then we give it to our parents. But because my father would grab it and read it straight away, that was his, Saturday shuffling and then Sunday off to soccer. I'd never get my hands on it until late Sunday, and then I'd tuck it in my school bag. And on the way to school, walking through Preston Market, there's me holding the paper, reading all the Crow news. I reckon the rest of the people around me at school must have thought, "What's with this guy? Doesn't read anything English."
Yeah. Amazing icons of the community, and may they certainly rest in peace. A somber note to start episode 11 of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. But indeed, we've got a huge show lined up tonight. Josip, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and then go on to the news and what you're not. But in the meantime, let us know what is happening for the rest of the show, Josip. Who are our guests?
Oh, we've got some fantastic guests, and I'm delighted to be able to present the head coach of North Geelong Warriors women's team, Ivan Herceg, along with a couple of players. My daughter, so conflict interest here being called out. My daughter Jasmine and Marcella Fierro as well, joining us to give us a player's perspective at the team, their performances, and the way they're building their team culture there in North Geelong in the women's team. And we'll also have a bit of a cover-off of the I&D Gala Day at length as well, because from the outside looking in, I guess is some of the things you miss living interstate is that connection with all the clubs in Victoria. We do like to come together, and from all accounts, for what I can see on the internet, mate, that was a fantastic day.
Yeah, there's going to be heaps that is happening in tonight's show. Do stay with us, folks. We're not going to be gone too long. We've got a couple of messages from our advertisers, from our sponsors. Straight after that, it's into the news desk.
Are you one of those people that just pays their business insurance each year? Insurance is the last thing we want to worry about when running our business day to day, unless there is a claim that needs to be made, right? And once we have our insurance in place, we just keep renewing it. We just find it too hard to shop around. Does that sound like you? Well, at Your Business Insurance, we could save you money and get you a better deal. We'll review your current insurance and determine if you're getting the most favourable offers from the insurance market. Call Your Business Insurance on 1300 767 456.
Welcome back to the show. You're watching the Oz Cro Soccer Show, and it's time for our Australian wrap-up. We'll start our proceedings over in Victoria as we were talking about the I&D Gala Day, but we'll quickly refer to the derby that was on. So we had Melbourne Knights playing guests over to our fantastic host, the St Albans Saints, and over at Dynamo. The Melbourne Knights got themselves a handy 2-0 win. In the proceedings, they got themselves back to winning ways, but it was a huge day had by all over there. From what we can see in the
we've got a little bit of footage courtesy of Football Victoria's Extra Time show. So it was a huge day, and it just goes for about a minute and a half, but it captures both goals and captures all the action from Churchill Reserve last Sunday.
Let's have a look at it, mate.
Plenty of cheese, 6 second-half yellow cards to be exact, for St Albans as they hosted Melbourne Knights on Sunday, but no goals. The visitors running out 2-0 winners.
Bryce. Omaro, can he get a shot? He does, and it's gone in the back of the net. Sumaro scores. And Melbourne Knights finally break the deadlock. Mohamed Sumaro. Cross comes in. It's headed away. Oh, what a save. Brilliant save by Hayden Brown. It's a chance here, but Sumaro whips in a low ball, looking for the back post, and he scores. And that's 2-0. It was a beautiful ball in. Still retain possession. Morton cuts in. Morton hits it. Oh, what a save, Brown. And it'll be a penalty. Waits for the whistle. Albano. Oh, it's a save by Brown. The ball to come in. Heads it up. Oh, it's off the crossbar. Still not a trouble. Manos punches it. It's eventually cleared by the Knights.
Geelong City is still looking to click into gear this NPL Men's Victoria season, but Delano Fierro has certainly been doing his bit to get them going, scoring 3 goals in his previous 4 games, including one against Dandy Thunder on Friday night.
And it's saved by Noah James. The rebound. It's Delano on Derby Day in Dandenong. As well to get through too. Whips it in towards the back post. What a ball in! And Delano Fierro has got himself a brace. But it's all thanks to the former Hugh man.
It's Wade out of centre back. Kubler-Gron was offside. Johnny Cool wasn't poked forward. Delano Fierro the early chance.
What a start, Lockie.
Six from 6, South lead the NPL Men's Victoria table at the end of the round, followed by Avondale, Port, Oakley, Bentley and the Knights in the top 6. Gully fall out of the finals places on goal difference, followed by the Thunder, Magic, Saints and Burgers. Dandy City, Eastern Lions and still winless Hume bring up the rear. Dandy City hosts Oakley, Hume visit the Knight and Bentley welcomes Green Gully as round 7 commences on Friday night. Altona visits Port, South hosts Eastern Lions as part of a doubleheader with its returning NPLW team, and the Thunder host Avondale on Saturday. The round ends on Sunday as St Albans head to the Village.
Some fantastic goals in that one there, Tunch.
Ripper goals.
I've got to say, the finishing skills in a lot of the games we're seeing, even the games we're seeing here in Queensland and Sydney United's games too, the finishing has been fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, I think the big takeout from that Derby day was the attendance for a sustained effort all day long. But, you know, just to see the two teams out there wasn't much between them really in terms of playing style. But Melbourne Knights just more clinical up top and made it count when it mattered.
It was one of those things that was a real 6-pointer in many ways. Like it's such an overused phrase in football, a 6-pointer game, but it certainly was because it was a game that both sides actually needed to win to get kind of away from the bottom. But Melbourne Knights had been in a bit of a slump in recent rounds, and they needed to get back in the winner's seat, which they did. And look, it gives them a lot of confidence now moving into next week's game. They've got Hume City at home this Friday. So Hume City have started quite poorly, and they are hopefully they are going to continue their poor form against the Knights, because that's right. What we want.
Oh, you'd like to think that the confidence has now been restored, but you know, no doubt there'd be something that they want to address. They would have looked at Hume City's performance this week and get the goods over the top of them on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. What else is going on? In Victoria before we move to the other states.
So we've got all the fixtures there with Dinamo and Dandy and who they're facing this week. Did you capture the footage of Jasko Karanovic's save? I don't think we got that on that little footage.
No, I don't think we do have that actually.
Okay,
no.
well,
shame.
It's a pity it wasn't on that highlight reel. But if you get a chance, viewers, go to Dandy City's Facebook page and watch the late drama unfold as Jasko Karanovic pulls out one of the best penalty saves you'll ever see in your life, and the drama around it all too. And ensured they took home a point from the derby and keeps them competitive as well. And now they're off to facing Oakley on Friday night, so that's going to be another massive test for them.
Another great thing was the call on the NPL TV. The guy commentating was he was
very
excited. I think absolutely. It was lots of passion, lots of colour, lots of excitement. When I say colour, there wasn't swearing, but he was genuinely, I think, excited by the game. And look, you had everything in that game. So certainly, why not? But yeah, that was a 2-2 draw in the Battle of the Dandenongs. That was last Friday night. But no, how good is the NPL TV on Clutch TV? Josip,
Look,
we're
when
seeing.
you're living where I am, mate, it's fantastic, mate. I know
Brilliant.
what to schedule in straight away in the evenings.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's good
Friday
for me.
nights. I love my Friday nights. You come home and you got nothing on, and then you start watching the games, and you've got a couple of screens happening if there's multiple games. But
Exactly,
yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely fantastic. So as we said, Dandenong City at home to Oakley Cannons this Friday night. Melbourne Knights also at home on Friday night against Hume City. And then Dinamo finishing off the round with a game against Heidelberg United away to
At Olympic
Heidelberg.
Village, yeah,
Olympic
that's going to be a
Village.
massive test for him to try and find winning ways again. And if you can do it over there, you can do it anywhere, mate. Because it's I won't say a hostile environment, but it's not as welcoming as you would get in a lot of other places.
That's right. That's right. Is it kind of like the de facto fourth Croatian club? Heidelberg United. They've got the Vranjes brothers, Joey and Ivan. Then they've got Nick
I wouldn't
Eres.
go that far, mate. A few years ago, it was the fact they Serb club. So
Yeah. Grazie. Well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right.
moving along, mate. Let's move
Moving
along
along,
to
mate.
other news.
Strathmore had a tight one. Almost got there, but Banyule Bulls, one of the season's favourites, got pipped them at the post for a 1-0 win over them. So they've got a big test. Your mate, Craig Filas, up against them this week. So Caroline Springs Georgie's away on a Saturday night. So great surface to be playing on. So we wish the Strathmore boys all the best in trying to find winning ways. Over at... You go on.
Yep, go on. Yep.
Over at Geelong, in North Geelong boys, the men got themselves a win, a solid 3-1 home win over traditional tough unit Moreland Zebras. It was great to see young 16-year-old Noah Skorkor making a start for the first team and obviously having an impact as well. So it's good to see.
I actually went to that game, mate. I tell you what, it was really incredible, actually. Watching him in action. Look, they've got a very young side. And when you've got players like Luka Jurkovic, who's spearheading the striking, the attack, and he's, 18 or something like that?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, it is quite an incredible kind of a thing to actually see that. Look, there's a few players there. The back line, you had players like Storšić, young George Ellis,
yeah,
young fellas, and then Anthony Barnovac, like the centre back, he's kind of like the veteran, and even he's a young fella. A lot of young players there, and as you mentioned, Noah Skorkor, the younger brother of Luka Skorkor, and the younger son of Josip Skorkor, talented family. That they're going to obviously probably suffer a little bit of inconsistency, as do most young teams this year. But exciting times there at
It'll be
Alto
exciting
Park.
nonetheless. Yeah, nonetheless. The women's team, who we'll speak with a bit shortly, they had a loss in their night cup matches against Burundara. Now we know about Burundara and the women's competition. They've always been very, very strong outfits. So they went down 7-2 on the weekend. So that's knocked them out of the cup race, and they can put their focus onto the upcoming State 1 season. Yeah. Tonchi, North Geelong's got some things stirring, and I'll get my sources right before I come out with the news proper. But I'll just say the words national selection, and I'll leave it at that.
Is that right?
Okay. Over to WA. Over to WA, Guelph, Croatia. Well done to Kayla Magics, I think I say that correct, who made the round 1 team of the week the round 2 team of the week last week, and their match against Coburn City was postponed due to COVID-related issues. And this week, their focus shifts to Sorrento FC, so we wish them all the best. Western Knights, too, had to postpone their match, round 1, against Quins FC due to COVID as well. So some of their matches over in WA went ahead, some didn't. But their sights are firmly fixed on Joondalup United away this week. In South Australia, before we speak of the men's, let's just quickly have a look at their juniors. The club has an array of teams playing at the high level, and thanks for that, Tonch, for that image. As you can see, look at the age groups, and it's boys and girls. They're all playing at a very, very high level, and whatever it is Adelaide Croatia is designing and getting themselves involved with the pathway system, they're doing it well because they've got so much representation there that it's only going to serve them well for the years to come. So well done, Adelaide Croatia. In saying that,
Great to see.
unfortunately, the men's team went down 2-0 to Modbury Jets, their crosstown rivals, who is, in all seriousness, it is the season favourite, Modbury Jets. So, look, not to despair. I think the boys will bounce back this week and have a good show of themselves as they face up for another round of action, because there was cup action the previous week, so they didn't get to. They got knocked out of that one.
Now, down in Tassie, the Knights are off to a flyer. Glenorchy Knights.
Look, they make it 2 from 2. They had a tough away trip to Devonport Strikers, coming away with a 1-0 win. So it was good to see the boys in action. And if you get a chance, anyone, to get on the Glenorchy Knights Facebook page, they do some good coverage and highlight reels of their activities. So yeah, get on there and give them a yell and a support, encourage them along the way. We'll head over to the sunny state, which has been we'll call it the soggy state this month.
Soggy state. Yeah.
Over where I am, mate. But Brisbane Knights, they're starting to build a bit of a season there. They've had a draw the previous week. This week, 3-2 win against Annerley, and they're a tough customer. Their over 35s teams also had some good results there. Great to see their women's team out and about and being competitive. Although a loss in their grading game, which ends for them this week, they'll be set for their competition level, and we'll wish them all the best as they head off to their season. The senior team this week are away to Ripley Valley. So, yeah, the games are going ahead from what we understand, and the weather was pretty good today, so I think it'll all dry up perfectly for Saturday and Sunday.
That's the amazing thing up at Queensland, isn't it? It just, everything seems to dry up very, very quickly. Here, down in Victoria, I think that if it became waterlogged, everything would it would take days and weeks for it to subside. Why is that the case up there?
It's a lot of sand-based grounds, and the drainage here. If you look at the gutters and the drainage systems, they're all monstrous in size, and they've got a big creek and canal systems always set up around the place. So within hours, it could look like it didn't even rain sometimes.
Incredible. Well, there you go.
Yeah, over at Gold Coast Knights, I drove out to the club the other day and had a look around, and it was just water everywhere as far as the eye can see. I took some images that I posted up on Facebook. But my respect goes out to all the club's people and the administration there. They just soldier on. They're an epitome of resilience, and they're always finding ways for the kids and the players to keep training and finding solutions to keep them fit and motivated. So. But the bad side of that, though, Taunch, is what I don't like, what I'm hearing over here, and it rises up the justice fighter within me, and I don't know how I'll go about it, but I think I'll find a way. Awful stories where indoor soccer centres and people that have access to grounds here locally can charge up to $1,200 for a handful of sessions.
Yeah, are you
kidding? It's just disgusting. I feel like the old days we used to put them in the racks in the middle of the street and throw rotten tomatoes.
Sometimes I wish we could do that with a lot of people these days. That's for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, over to football action. The men were away to Capalaba. Thankfully, Capalaba were able to reverse the fixture. Well, there's the images.
Yeah, there's that photo. Isn't that incredible? Look at the goalposts and look at you could play waterpolo, not nogomet. It looks like it.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, but thankfully Capalaba were able to reverse the fixture in a heartbeat and accepted the Knights' offer to come and play there. And the Knights did pretty well. Most of the game, it was pretty tight affair towards the late stages, but 2 cracking high-quality goals and gave them the 2-0 win to keep them up on top of the ladder. We're gathering that they will be able to play at home this week, and I think a final call will be made on that later on tomorrow night. But they're up against Brisbane City.
Okay,
which may revert to an away game, but regardless, the action will continue.
That's good.
Over in
New South Wales, mate.
Wales, yeah.
You're
so
all Newcastle, Croatia.
Newcastle, Croatia's got their all-age men's having a game, a trial game on Friday night, National Park. They're taking on. Lost my way there. The Cooks Hill United. Cooks Hill, that's right. Yeah, at National Park, and then on Sunday. The League 3 guys are taking on Cardiff City, so they get underway properly, and we're looking forward to hearing the news from Zivko and the boys there, and they'll give us updates, no doubt.
Yeah.
So all supporters are invited back to Wick and Croatia Sports Centre after the games on Sunday, so they can all debrief each other and give each other a rev up for the following week again too. So
A real positive highlight of the year so far is really the renaissance of Newcastle, Croatia, and indeed just keep an eye on the renaissance of the Croatian community in Newcastle as well, and the Hunter region of Samira. Moving to the harbour city, Sydney, and
I'll quickly go to South Coast United. Their game was cancelled last week against Coniston, but they've got a Super Saturday this week at their ground. They're hosting all the games at Ian McClellan Park, but South Coast's game is playing at 4:00 against Wollongong United, which is known as Wollongong Macedonia. So over to Hurstville, as you said, mate. They had an Australia Cup match and came away with a nice 3-0 win. So that puts them into the next round. Don't know if we got that footage there, Tonch, of the young fella at Hurstville that scored that cracker.
No, you did tell me something off air, and we weren't able to get that in time. But we might have to try and get that.
Get onto Hurstville's Facebook page. The young fella Miguel normally plays under 16s, was called up to the under 18s and scored this goal on the run from about 25 out. The way he hit it was Cruyff-like. It was fantastic. The men's had, like I said, the 3-0 win, and now they're going back to the league and they're playing a Western Rage away this week in NPL 3. Sydney United, Tonch, they had their first loss of the season.
It had to happen sooner or later. Hopefully they can get it out of their system now and move on.
Yeah, they went down 4-2 to Northbridge Bulls, so they'll have to dust that off because nothing like a big clash to wake you up again. They're up against Blacktown City, and Blacktown City we've known from their FFA Cup matches over the last few years. They're a strong outfit, so it'll be a great game to watch, that one. Just a quick note, we haven't heard too much from Warrington and Denzel Park or King Tom about their football activities or their aside from the tourney. So if you guys are listening or tuning into our show, please send us some news. We're happy to share it and get and promote your efforts and events across our show so people are aware of what you're up to.
Absolutely. And last but not least, in ACT in Canberra, there's some stuff happening there as well.
Oh, look, they're finally getting underway, mate. So Canberra, Croatia, they had their season launch coming up on Friday night. And then the action gets underway, mate. The women's NPL, they're taking on Canberra United Academy. And then the men's team, they're taking on Canberra Olympic. So there'll be plenty of action down at Deakin. And so get out there. The local community all live pretty close by to O'Connor and Deakin, so no excuses. Get yourselves out there and support the teams. And speaking of O'Connor, they start their season off with a bit of confidence, right? So they've got the Australia Cup win over Bell North last week, 4-1, and now they take on West Canberra Wanderers. Their women's team also kick off their state league campaign against the ANU, the Australian National University. And just a late bit of news that came out from O'Connor is they've drawn Queanbeyan City in the next round of the Australia Cup, which is held in May.
There you go. All right, lots happening, folks. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, all the overnight news with the Croatian national teams, the under-19s, the under-21s, and indeed, of course, the seniors. Don't go away. You're tuning into the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's episode 11.
Legea, keep running with us.
Welcome back to the, get that off the screen. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's episode 11. Josip, some good news, bad news, I think, happening overnight as well. We might have a chance to discuss this as well. First of all, with the seniors, there we go. We've got the friendly that was played last night, or earlier this morning, I should say, involving Croatia and Bulgaria. Come from behind 2-1 win. It was a very different sort of a Croatia from the team that played against Slovenia on the weekend. Obviously, this is an opportunity for Zlatko Dalic to start experimenting and playing with a few different types of players. But as we can see from that article, Duje Chaletacar was the only starter from the game against Slovenia. So a lot of players given an opportunity. But in the end, when the proverbial almost hit the fan, and he brought the old reliables, let's say Modric, Kramaric, Kovacic, etc. They came back on. Things did turn around, and Modric and Kramaric did really well. Good to see Kramaric getting back on the goal scorers.
A couple of matches, a couple of goals, and because he is one of those ones that sort of drifts off, and he can cop a little bit from the fans as well. Even here locally, the fans give him a bit of grief as well. So
now it's great to see there. Look, I guess the under, I suppose that was the under the seniors, the under 21s. Well, they experienced their first loss, I guess, off their campaign. Look, it wasn't 2-3 loss to Finland, so it wasn't exactly what they wanted to see. But look, they're still on top, and they have got a game in hand. There are 2 more games to go, and I think they're playing, if I'm not mistaken, Norway and Estonia. So in effect, they really, really just need, I guess, a draw from one of their last 2 games. Is that right?
Yeah,
so
one point will take them away from Austria, and top 2 go through to the next, right? So, it'll take them away from Austria, and then you got in 3rd position there, Norway. They've got they've got an extra game in hand. They can overcome Austria, but Croatia, out of those 2 games, you'd expect at least 4 points anyway. So, that should be fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the under 19s, the Croatian under 19s team,
wasn't it?
A big shock. They started the campaign really well, but they've ended up on the bottom of the
elite
qualification.
Group,
their group. They lost to Georgia overnight 1-0. What do you say? This is Josip Šimunic's team, by the way. They started off well. He actually came out in a press conference and said, these guys are absolutely destined for something big. They're going to be huge, this and that. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. It just wasn't the case to be. And they've bombed out of the under-19 UEFA qualifications behind Georgia, Iceland, and Romania.
Yeah, it does work a bit differently at that age group for some reason. I'm not sure why they've set it up in that way. But, look, I think they'll be nothing short of disappointed and haven't met the mark that they've set. So you would have thought that they would have gone through from the top 2 in that group, but it's not to be.
Yeah, well, the internationals are over, and if you're a person like me and you just cannot wait for the club football to come back on, well, this weekend it's all about the Prva Hrvatska Nogometna Liga. It's back in action. There's, just to recap, it just seems like it was so long ago. There's the ladder. Dinamo and Hajduk obviously have got a game in hand, but it is neck and neck up at the top there. Rijeka seem to have fallen by the wayside a little, but, there's still the cup, obviously, to play for. Some of the fixtures that are coming up, Šibenik taking on Gorica in the wee hours of Sunday morning. And now with daylight savings kicking in, or the end of daylight savings on Sunday, it's going to play a little bit funny buggers with the times these days. Istra taking on Rijeka, the bigger northern derby, if you like, the Kvarner derby. That's at 3 a.m. Australian time. Then Monday morning, Dinamo Zagreb taking on Hrvatski Dragovoljac. Now, Hrvatski Dragovoljac...
You're tipping an upset here or what?
Well, possibly. I mean, you never know. They are wearing a blue and yellow kit, a special blue and yellow kit in solidarity of Ukraine. And supposedly after the game, the kits are going to be auctioned off and the money's going to go to... helping Ukrainian refugees that are currently in Zagreb. So who knows? They might be motivated to that fighting spirit of the Ukrainians to topple Dinamo Zagreb. You don't know, but that's it.
Anything can happen.
Sorry,
anything can happen, mate. I was going to say anything can happen. They've shown in the last couple of games how they can rise. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, absolutely. That's at 1:00 Monday morning. Then the big one, Osijek versus Hajduk Split at 3:30. Now, the big talking point out of this one, Josip, is that Osijek have decided that they're capping their crowd. I think it's like to 50%, if I'm not mistaken. It basically means vaccinated, unvaccinated, everyone can go, but then they've capped that they've got a limit that how many they can do. So if it was just the only vaccinated only and the vaccination passports, I'll get that right. It could have been a full house, but they've decided that they're wanting to do that. Now, is that a tactical move? That because they know there's going to be a lot of Hajduk Split fans descending on Osijek because there are a lot of Hajduk fans in Slavonia, or is that just being inclusive of everyone? I don't know. We'll soon find out. But that's at 3:30 Monday morning. A huge game for both. Hajduk, if they don't win this game, they're going to be really losing touch with the leaders. And if Osijek does not win this game, well, they really run the risk of falling behind Dinamo Zagreb in a big way. And then we've got Lokomotiva taking on Slaven Belupo Tuesday morning at 2 a.m., so it's a Monday night game. And the big news coming out of Lokomotiva is that one of the brightest young talents in Croatia at the moment, Mario Brkljača from Hajduk, a 17-year-old, he has decided that, he's not going to sign some sort of almost like an amateur contract with, not an amateur contract, but a very underpaid professional contract with Hajduk. And he's going to be a free agent in June. And so he's now decided to sign his first professional contract with Lokomotiva Zagreb. Interesting stuff there. Moving along to the Druga Liga, very, very quickly. Varaždin, they're playing their game against lowly Solin. That's at Sunday morning at 2 o'clock. So they're in a battle for top spot along with Rudeš, who also roughly about half an hour earlier, they take on Dinamo Zagreb's second team. So in a bit of a Zagreb derby. So that should be a really interesting clash between those two sides. And I'll tell you what.
Our favourites, Sibelia, taking on Dubrava. Come on, Sibelia.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of a kind of a slump in recent times, but hopefully they can get back to it all. But we're going to take a very, very quick break. When we do return, it is all about the North Geelong Warriors women. There's a revolution happening down at Alco Park with the women. Amazing stuff, and we'll hear about their double promotion from the coach of the North Geelong Warriors, someone who's a very dear friend of ours, Ivan Herceg. He'll be joining us straight after this break. Folks, don't go away. We'll be back straight after this break.
Are you one of those people that just pays their business insurance each year? Insurance is the last thing we want to worry about when running our business day to day, unless there is a claim that needs to be made, right? And once we have our insurance in place, we just keep renewing it. We just find it too hard to shop around. Does that sound like you? Well, at Your Business Insurance, we could save you money and get you a better deal. We'll review your current insurance and determine if you're getting the most favourable offers from the insurance market. Call Your Business Insurance on 1300 767 456.
Good evening. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's an absolute pleasure to have our first guest for tonight. He's a very popular man down at Alco Park. He was was a very strong left-sided footballer in his playing days, tearing down those flanks down at Alco Park. Our pleasure, Ivan Herceg. How are you, Ivan? It's a warm welcome to you.
Very well.
Did you send in that bio, Ivan?
No, most certainly not. I think that's probably the one thing that he does remember is my left foot, and not always on par. But yeah, I think he shares a similar left foot as I do. So
I do. Us lefties, we got to stick together, and I've always got a soft spot for other left footers. We're getting off the topic here, but sometimes when you see someone cracking the ball from 20, 30 meters out, rasping effort that goes into the top left-hand, right-hand corner, whatever. When it's a left footer, it's just so much more magical, isn't it?
I think, well, I can only speak on behalf of left footers. Joe, you jump in wherever you feel appropriate. But look, I think left footers probably maybe it's just that technique that looks a little bit different than other normal players with the right foot. So hence it looks a little bit special, but equally a good goal, be it right foot or left foot, is equally applauded.
Absolutely, mate. Let's turn our attention now to the women's. A lot is happening, but let's talk about that double promotion, how it's happened. Brilliant, exciting news for North Geelong women's. Last season in State 3. How many games was it you played before the season was cut short by COVID? But
12.
And
just,
12 wins, wasn't it? 12 wins from 12 games.
Wins, yeah.
Awesome effort.
68 goals for, and certainly conceded 1. So plus 67 overall. So definitely a good result for the season.
And tell us how it came about, the promotion into State 2 initially, and then State 1 as well.
Oh, look, I think from the onset, certainly when we were playing back in Sunday League or local league in Geelong, certainly within that region, for certainly our first year, we always, when we decided that we had enough strength in the squad to try and compete, and we certainly had the momentum of the youth behind us in terms of the depth throughout the club, creating a pathway, we decided to consult with the FV and look at see if we could get some access into the State League football. We felt that was the right, appropriate pathway to create for the club, and not only for the senior girls that were there at the time, but certainly the girls that are much younger and are developing as well. So we did approach them, and certainly based on the quality and the talent that we had in the squad, we wanted to obviously get as high as we possibly could. And then the FV, through their process of, I guess, grading, thought, and we certainly put together a case as far as the friendly games that we played, the night cups that we played last season or the season before, to make a strong case, and they felt it appropriate to then let us enter in at State Level 3 for our first inaugural season in State League.
Brilliant. Oh, Josip, we just saw some photos there of earlier this season as well. Josip, you had a question that you wanted to ask.
No, I was going to the journey to get the team to State 3 was one thing, but I think this is sort of culminated from a few years of concerted effort from a few individuals at the club, and I'll include Maria Specher, who I tried to get on the show tonight, but she was reluctant to be in front of the camera and speak. But credit to people like Maria and Bobby Simic at the time too, and yourself for putting your hand up along with Frank Simovic as well. Yep, and then along the journey, you started accumulating others that come on board. You got Vlado Jakic on board. Ahmed, who's popped a note on the comments on the feed as well. Thank you, Ahmed. And recently retired North Geelong veteran and star, Michael Anderson, mate. So, look, just talk us over that build-up and that journey of getting the people on board, how that sort of came together.
I guess it initially originated from, I guess, coaching females at a junior level from myself and also Frank Simovic in the initial days. And certainly Vlado came along during the latter years of our stints within the youth structure at North Geelong. And all of these junior girls certainly had been playing local level for a significant amount of time, from when they were, under 7s right up until, I guess, under 15s, under 14s, that sort of age bracket. The big change, certainly from the youth level, was acceptance to get an under-16 squad playing in Metro Melbourne, of which was an amazing, I guess, an achievement for a youth team that had always competed in the local league. And that's where, I guess, Frank Simovic came forward with Vlado and spearheaded that coaching staff for that inaugural season for the youth within Metro Melbourne. And they had an outstanding year, in fact, unbeaten across all competitions, stand out and out leader at the top end of the competition. So that probably was the foundation for a long number of years. And certainly for a long time, North Geelong had participation at senior women's, be it in Geelong, either at State League, as high as State League 1. But in the latter years, it was really at local league that we really brought around, I would say probably about 4 years ago, as recent as 4 years ago when we really started. Again, we participated in that competition. We came pretty close. I think we got runners up ultimately behind Rangers, who was a really strong standout in our first local hit out. And that really set the foundation, given the players that we had and the quality that was coming to the club, for us to look higher. And then progressively acceptance into State 3, a standout season in the first season at State 3, and then ultimately looking to push as high as we can. We were lucky enough, given that through COVID there was no real official promotion or relegation, certainly no relegation, but no official promotion, automatic at least. And so given the results, unbeaten, as I mentioned earlier, with that goal difference, clearly looking to try and accelerate into State 2. We did get that notification, luckily enough, that we were accepted into State 2. And then out of the blue, literally, and maybe because we were always saying, can we have State 1? Can we have State 1? Really as a sort of a benchmark for us to push into. We were fortunate through the workings of our lovely behind the works Maria Spehar, who's been a real leader, certainly at the board level for this club. So congratulations to what Maria's done for literally the past 3 seasons for the club. We were lucky enough to be invited to participate in State 1, which was an amazing achievement.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, now, Ivan, there seems to be a lot of stability, not just with the coaching side of things, but the administrative side of things when it comes to women's football at North Geelong Warriors. What is the secret to success behind being able to keep those coaches obviously involved? And look, we understand a lot of the coaches are there because their daughters play, for example, but being able to stay in what has traditionally been kind of a, what's the word? A kind of a climate where it's not really kind of, you don't get that appreciation that maybe you would with maybe the boys or maybe with the men's and that sort of stuff. But it's changing. Things are changing. And North Geelong is testament that administratively and coaching-wise and player-wise, people are staying involved with that side of the club. What's the secret to North's success?
Look, I don't think it's a single thing. I think it's certainly the vision that took place, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I guess, for what we wanted to do. We did acknowledge that we wanted to participate as high as we possibly could in terms of women's football. And there was a real onus on getting a clear pathway that started from, I guess, local community football all the way through the metro system. And I must add right now that, we're certainly lucky enough, I think, this year that our under-15s are also participating in the metro leagues in Melbourne, which is also a credit to what the club is doing. So that's a fantastic result. So I think it's a combination of things. Having the stability at the club is really to just ensure that the vision is still on track. The fact that I've been coaching females for the last few years, where probably in the early years with the influence, you probably could have given it away based on a number of different situations that did take place, not in a negative way, but it's different. Coaching boys and men is a little bit different to certainly coaching females. But
Can I stop you? Can I stop you there? How is that different? Because I've asked this question of a lot of coaches over the years, and they also no, it's the same way. And I having coached the women's team at North, and having coached guys and juniors, I completely agree that you do have to approach it in a different way. But these coaches say, "Oh no, the way I coach the boys, I coach the girls." It's not true. How do you find it, the difference?
I mean, I could elaborate, but the show's certainly not got enough time to explain the differences between men's and women's. But I will say one thing. I think it's important to certainly give you an idea that when there's an instruction given, the female players ask a lot of questions, and that's what you really got to be ready for. And I reckon a lot of those questions are pretty justified in terms of getting a little bit of clarity about, what, be it that drill or be it that strategy that we want to do in terms of the game formation and so on. So I think that's just them being a little bit more inquisitive and wanting to learn and understand, I guess, what we're trying to do. And so I guess when that happens and you do go through that explanation, I think we've all adapted, and certainly with the assistant coaches this year, which is awesome, by the way, to have the likes of Ahmed Idris and Michael Ando.
Well, Ando's just popped up and said they listen to everything.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. That's what I used to find.
I don't know if Ando's taking the piss there or not, but I don't think they listen to everything. I think there is an expectation that we would hope they listen to everything, but I know there's
compared to the
girls
boys, maybe
that don't fit that category. So anyway, with them joining the group, I think that's been an amazing step up in the level of professionalism, and certainly the girls have really reciprocated and really enjoyed that experience. So we've got balance with experience, we've got balance with communication, and I think the club is in a really good shape heading into what will be an amazing first season at Divi 1.
Thank you, Ivan. One key phrase you used there throughout the explanation of the answering those questions was pathway. Yep. I draw my time back to when NPL women's came up, and there was an opportunity for clubs to come together in the region, and what the FV chose not to lead that conversation. And I was reminded about this from Mark Tizard, who I reached out to for the photos. Thanks, Ivan. I reached out to Mark, so thanks, Mark, for the wonderful footage that you provide for the women's game. But he reminded me. He said, "Do you remember we had to come together, and our club led that conversation, and we put our hand on our hearts and said we weren't ready to provide that pathway at that point in time." And Galaxy went on and entered the NPL, and unfortunately, for whatever reasons, they've sort of had a bit of a topsy-turvy ride, and now sitting in VPLW. But the story, how it converted into North then putting in a concerted effort, as you kindly described to us, to get us to this point where we are today for the club, has been nothing short of fantastic. But one thing that I have noticed more than anything is actually people from outside, so I call it the periphery, that usually we talk about the men's game, are asking more questions about the women's game because of the profile. And having an inclusion of people like Michael and Ahmed coming on board to assist Ivan in this in this part of the club's activities, Tonch, what it does is actually gets the club as a whole talking about it and stirring more activity that way and getting the energy in the right channels. And now you've got people like Ivan who can lead this group onto bigger and better things, and from what we hope is a fantastic State 1 season.
Yep. I think the turning point, Josip, I think one of the turning points that I saw was it last year? No, it's actually the year before when North Geelong was playing in the local competition, the local community league, and it was really 2 or 3 clubs at best, in this whole competition. Might have been one of the semi-finals, and after the game, everyone, young people, old people, whatever, went into the dressing rooms in traditional style to sing the Warriors theme song. And I think the girls were just floating on air, that they were getting the same treatment as the blokes in the simplest things, from after-match sing-alongs of the theme song in the dressing room. And to me, that was almost like a turning point that, finally we are actually focusing, in Australian football, you often hear this thing, female-friendly change rooms. We're doing this for the game, for the women's game. But I feel, and I'm going to be quite controversial here, folks, I think a lot of the time, a lot of the clubs, a lot of the associations, a lot of the politicians are just paying lip service. Yep. When you see something like that, where the girls are treated very much equals, right down to post-match singing of the songs in the change rooms, and they're just treated just like everyone else. That to me is a real tangible proof in the pudding that things are changing for the better.
I think to add a little bit further to that, I think the key word there is equality, and I guess we're striving to ensure that we've got a benchmark, and the benchmark for us is, I guess, the equivalent success that the male team has had over a significant amount of seasons at NPL 2 and NPL higher. But certainly we're bridging that gap in terms of equality and the way the club treats their female footballers, with obviously separate change rooms and all of the other things. But I mean, they're physical bricks and mortars type things that you can certainly have different and have equal to the men, but it's the behaviour and the respect for women in this game, in and around the club. The way that we treat them, the way that we prepare match days now, it's a real step up from what it was even a couple of years ago. So I think the girls have certainly appreciated it. I hope they've acknowledged it and understood, because we're certainly committed to try and create, a really really good environment so they can perform and get the best out of their football.
Awesome. Well, we've got two guests coming up very, very shortly. Jasmine Zilic and Marcella Fierro coming on. Both girls who have played elsewhere and now they've come to North. So it'd be great to hear what their experiences are like. And they're two of the braver ones that were willing to front the camera. Ivan, if you don't mind, hang around as well because we'd love for you to be on as well.
Before we let Ivan go, one last question for myself, mate.
Sure.
In recent years, the club's made the feature game, the women's match, like the 5 p.m. under lights, the action. Yeah. Just from your sense, now you've been around the club a lot longer than I have, mate. You know what the atmosphere is like usually during the men's game. Yeah. What's going through your mind and how are you feeling walking out with the team when there's 200 people in the grandstand singing along for your team?
Oh, look, it's absolutely awesome. I guess what it does for the girls in the preparation, in the build-up, and even the motivation to walk out there full of pride and full of motivation to really perform. I guess when you think about every other Sunday where there's no one there, the kitchen's closed, you can't even make a coffee in the midst of the season. Having that opportunity to do Friday night games for us certainly was an amazing event. So
yeah. All right, guys, don't go away. Stay around. We're going to bring Jasmine and Marcella on very shortly, but a couple of words from our sponsors before we do that. Don't go away.
Leggera, keep running without.
Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show, and joining us just previously is head coach of the women's team, Ivan Herceg, and now kindly joining him, two of the women's team players in Marcella Fierro and my daughter. I'm calling out the conflict of interest here. Jasmine Zilic. Welcome to the show, girls.
Thanks for having us.
How are you, girls?
Hi,
Great
Dad.
to have you on. There is no conflict of interest in the world of football. We're often asked to wear a couple of hats. You could be a dad, you can be a president, you could be a coach, or you could be a player. But absolutely no conflict of interest. Girls, what brought you first of all to the club? Marcella, first of all, tell us your story. How you got involved with football, with soccer in the first place, and how have you eventually ended up at Alco Park?
So from an Italian background, I've always grown up soccer, pretty much had no choice what I was playing when I was a kid. Played with boys at Bell Park Sports Club as a child, and then as soon as the NPL opportunity arose, I was obviously really keen to get it going and was there from the very start at Galaxy. Parents were involved as well, managers, coaches, all there from the start. Literally started there from under 12s, went all the way up to seniors. And last year was when I made the move to North Geelong. Just decided I was in year 12 the year before, had a really stressful year, just decided to relax a bit and knew North were a good team and were going to be competitive, as I obviously had the competitive side from playing NPL, so knew they were going to be competitive, take it serious, but also have a bit of a take a bit of a step back from that top.
Good coaches.
League.
Good coaches.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no
Good
worries.
supporters.
Good supporters. Chavapi rolls.
Chavapi rolls.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's the
Thanks.
ultimate motivator.
Thanks, Chella. How are Frank and Michelina going?
Very good, very
That's
good. Frank's at
Say hello
work.
to them for me. Thank you.
I will.
That's
And Jasmine, of course, don't say that your dad pushed you to come down to North, but you were playing at Point Cook, weren't you, for a while, or down those bits of the woods? Yeah.
Oh, it's
I've
started at North.
long history of me and my football. I grew up playing netball first of all, and then obviously growing up around soccer and North my whole life, I decided to dabble in soccer when I was younger, and I was even training with like Josip Skorko and Noah at one point, but not playing games. Eventually went into under 13s with Lara and Lauren, who we play with now. Then went back to netball for a solid chunk of years and was dabbling between that and Galaxy. And then eventually left Galaxy and went to Point Cook. I decided to take it easy. I wasn't enjoying it, but I still wanted to play, keep my fitness up. So I decided to go to a lower league where I knew if I wasn't committed, it wouldn't be as harsh.
Mm-hmm.
And then followed my coach to Altona Magic and ended right back up at home where my whole family is, where our heart belongs. And
yeah, absolutely. And describe some of your experiences at some of those other clubs. Like girls, both of you, Marcella, you've already mentioned Bell Park and how that was, you grew up there. Wonderful club, some great people there as well. But tell us a bit your experiences with the other clubs and compare that to what you're now experiencing at North. Level of professionalism, level of coaching, fun, all of it.
Well, obviously at Bell Park and similarities between Bell Park and North, it's all very family orientated. It's all the families, the community, all really, that's where it's all rooted from. All the hard work wouldn't go on without the volunteers, and all the people who are involved in the club are just from the community, nothing special. At Galaxy, it's hard to judge because it was such a new club, a new team. They had to start really from the start, whereas North had already a great program set in stone. North just really welcoming. Obviously, not being from Croatian background, I felt extremely welcomed. No difference. We have a great range of ethnicities in our team, and I just felt really welcomed by Ivan as well, and the coaches and all the girls, and really enthusiastic for me and my sister to join along, and not hearing anything, not playing at different clubs. Obviously there was some controversy and stuff with that, but just pretty much when moving, just had a fresh start and just feeling really welcomed and feeling like I had a new slate and I could just come and play football because that's what we're there for at the end of the day. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Jasmine, your experiences at Point Cook and Altona Magic?
Point Cook was very different. I knew nobody there. I mean, my brother and my cousin had played in the men's team, but I had known no one. I was just give it a fresh start, quite like Chella did with North, but still, regardless, I fit in, even though it was State 4, like one of the lower leagues. It was, everyone wanted to be there. Everyone was welcoming. And then moving to Magic was easier because majority of our team moved from Point Cook to Magic alongside, but I liked that environment even more because coming from a Croatian background, going to like a Macedonian club, it's not much of a difference. It's good to be enriched in a different culture every now and then. They were very welcoming, very hospitable to our women's team, even though we were only like a State 3 team. They still treated us as if we were like the men's. We had the same facilities and everything, got fed on team nights and everything, but I say nothing can beat North.
Yeah, of course. You've both started playing at a young age and got to experience it both visually through family and then actually participating yourselves. Now playing at a senior level and a pretty high level, being State 1. Do you at this age yet reflect on how it's all changed behind you now? Because when you were pioneers setting out, there wouldn't have been a lot of younger age groups under you. But now that you're at the senior level, do you reflect now and think, wow, how much has it changed just in your short time playing the game?
Yeah, 100%. Like, as I said, when I started, there wasn't even a girls' team. I was playing with all under 9s or under 11s boys. So, and I always felt out of place, obviously, because girls were always seen as they should play netball or tennis or something, or even basketball. It was never soccer. And it's good to see the growth and how many girls are now starting from a young age, and North have a great female program starting from under 9s all the way to seniors now. Took a while to get back to how we were, but I mean, it's great to see how much, like even my younger cousins are involved in the club, but like back then we had nothing. It was like you had to. It was training only for me at the age of 9. So
I remember even it's really great now that for obviously our senior team is really good role models, I guess, for all the younger girls coming up. I remember even being under 12s and looking at the senior girls oh my gosh, and this was years and years ago, oh my gosh, I want to be like them. So it's good that there's so many younger girls now that can really feed off and look towards us.
I remember even watching who we play with now, Jadranka Herceg. I still love watching her. Amazing player, and even better to play alongside now. So,
So when you see the level of coaching quality and the depth of coaching around you, and you mentioned Danka, you got Danka and you got Louisa, who both coach young girls as well.
Louisa Cook, amazing with kids. I've seen her in action with some of the younger girls.
Do yourselves and your peers at your similar age, does the conversation come up about getting involved and maybe picking up an under-7s mini roos team?
Men's definitely come about every now and then. Whether we actually take action is another story. But, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to even every now and then ask to join in with either Danka or Louisa's team, just say, do you want a bit of help? I remember at Magic, we used to help out with the younger girls as well. It was always good to be exposed to that because we were once where they were.
You can go and help your uncle out with the girls.
Yeah, whatever.
The girls volunteered to help at the Festa the other week, so I'm sure all the girls are keen to get involved when the opportunity arises. They jump right on it.
Yeah.
Ivan, a question.
Sorry, Tosh, I was just going to follow that on quickly.
I think we're thinking the same thing.
Maybe we were. Ivan, now that you're hearing that and seeing it, and you're experiencing it week to week, right? You think back to the days when you and I were coaching mini roos nearly 20 years ago, right? And the boys, and you look at what's around you now and what the club has built culturally. Yeah. Does it inspire you to keep going or what?
Look, I think it does. And I mean, ongoing success certainly does create an inspiration and create a motivation to keep going. Because again, you see them develop and you see success through, the end of the season as the positions that you get and the wins that you make. And it's really the smiles on the girls' faces and how they enjoy that environment. And that's probably the thing that drives you wanting to continue on. So again, we'll see. It's still a long road ahead. It still is a big season for our first time. So we'll see 3 quarters down through the season how we're faring and whether or not.
Do we know when fixtures are coming out, or do we know when the season actually starts?
Season start is, I think, April 24. And certainly fixtures haven't come out, but they shouldn't be too far away. But that's probably typical.
FB,
I won't say typical of FB.
Pretty disappointing. The men's get their fixture months before their season starts, but the women's have to wait. Now we're getting close to a month after the season starts.
I have to clear out my social calendar.
But anyway, I mean, there is certainly the season, as I said, starts on April 24. And we should be seeing the fixture being released shortly. The interesting thing for us this season is also coming up against one of a familiar face in Spremnost, Laura in particular, that's probably going to play, will be playing for Moreland Zebras. And Moreland Zebras will certainly be in, there we go, fixtures out on the 10th of April.
Thanks,
there you
Brad.
go. Thanks, lads. Have you got him on payroll there, Tonchi, or something? So
I don't know. No, there you go. He knows something I don't know. That's good stuff. Family connections. I'll tell you, we've done it.
Naturally. So again, got the as I mentioned, Moreland Zebras and Laura's going to be an interesting, fixture for us, certainly, given her ties back into our club this season. So it's going to be looking forward to a great season.
Now, can I just say this is my claim to fame as a women's coach. I was coaching the North Geelong women's senior team for 1 year when I was injured playing Sunday League. And Laura Spiranovic was 11 at the time, and she made her seniors debut for North. Back then, there was a little less regulations than now. And I remember her dad coming up to me one day after Amelia had started training with us, and who was only 13 at the time. And he goes, "Oh, I've got an 11-year-old, and she could play." And I'm thinking, 11-year-old playing with women, senior women's. She was amazing. So great to see she's still playing. But Ivan, there are a couple of players. I think there's another couple of players playing in other teams as well, whether it be with Galaxy, whether it be with South Melbourne, I believe. Football Victoria emerging, if I'm not mistaken, all ex-North Geelong girls.
Yeah.
If we now get to that stage where, possibility of promotion into VPLW with one eye on NPLW expansion down, are these girls likely to come back to strengthen what we've already got there?
I think anything's possible. Certainly there are a couple of girls, and even what we've done this year with, or certainly in the last couple of years with some of the younger girls that we've got within our squad in the under-18s, there's been at least 6 girls that have played senior women's football in State 3 and potentially will have some participation in State 1 this season. But, you've got other girls that was at FV emerging, but now has gone to South Melbourne, only recently signed, is Natalie Pickak. Again, a junior goalkeeper, certainly, that's gone in leaps and bounds. So there's definitely a chance that she might consider at some point when we're befitting of the level that's suitable to her development, that she might come back. So we'll see.
Well, Maxi Shantic, who's been a previous coach of the St Albans Dynamo women's team, who are in State 1, he sends a very, very nice message there, and he says, congratulations to North Geelong on their promotion to State 1. Other clubs have spent many years to come up through the Victorian football system, so great to have now 3 Croatian women's teams up in the higher leagues now. All the best for 2022. Thank you. All the best for 2020 and beyond. Thank you to Maxi Shantic, and someone else involved with St Albans Dynamo, John Bilosh, also says credit to you all and good luck, girls. So thank you to everyone getting on board with us. And I really appreciate that. Ladies, is there any more questions, Josip?
Yeah, just one more for the girls. Considering the coaches you got involved now, Charlie, you played last year with North. Jazzy, you joined just before COVID sort of busted it up. But Charles, now you're into your second year. And now with the inclusion of the coaching group with Michael, Ahmed and Ivan, can you maybe elaborate a little bit on what your coaching what you took on board from previous clubs versus what you're getting now, and how do you find the difference?
Yeah, well, especially Galaxy was always obviously they had some great coaches there, Kat Smith, the likes of those types of people there. So it was always great to get that experience from those type of coaches and have obviously a great range of coaches. But at North, it's just there's the 3 boys there, and it feels like there's always someone there. Whereas I feel like at other clubs, maybe it was they're there, you don't know how long they're going to be there for. They might be there for a couple of weeks. You don't know why they're there. Do you know what I mean? They haven't grown up. At North, obviously, Ivan's been involved a long time, and same as Ahmed and Ando just retiring. So, they're not just there for, the money or whatever else, something, but that they're there really for the girls, and they're really there for your development, improvement, and just always there for you.
Is it fair to say that stability gives you the confidence to keep returning and showing your best as well?
Of course, yeah. Motivation. Ivan shows up every week.
Sometimes,
yeah, angry. Sometimes, apparently, we don't listen. So
Ivan angry? No.
Yeah.
He's about to spit it. Look at him. He's about to walk
tomorrow
out.
night, I tell ya. But no, he I obviously always feeling motivated by them, and they every week show up to a game, to training, wanting our best, and obviously if they want it, we'll give it. So
Tonchi, have you got a 3-second delay at least, so you could have bleeped out?
I thought you were going to do a Luke Beveridge there for a second and just spit it and walk out. But Josip, you're going to say something about Ahmed.
Ahmed's been cheeky. He's put a comment up saying, "Who's your favourite coach?" I'll let you guys answer that at training. What are you?
No comment.
Wise answer.
No, but it's always good. Like, we know, Ivan obviously has a family at home and everything, but he always gives his time and dedication to us, regardless of any night, anything that we need, any questions we have over the phone, face to face.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Apparently a lot of questions, yeah.
He's always there to answer and give us the best answer possible so we can learn as players and grow, whether it's individually or as a team. like it's always open communication. It's a great team to be a part of.
Girls, we talk about the coaches. What about the players? Marcella, first of all, to you, who do you find real inspiration playing alongside? Could be a younger player, could be an older player, but who really gets you all pumped and inspired?
Well, coming to the club, Danka, like Jazz was saying before, heard of her, watched her play before. Yep. She's seriously, me and Jazz, one of our favorite players. We love going to training. She's always so positive, so smile, radiates the best energy. Such a great captain, such a great teammate. She's honestly the most inspiring girl in our team, and obviously my sister plays, so it's nice playing with my sister as well. When we get on the same side, when Ivan puts us on the same side, it's nice. When she does something wrong, I do something wrong, we can yell at each other.
What's your sister's name? Give her a shout out.
Emanuela.
We know, but I'm sure the viewers out there don't.
AKA Weller.
Okay, Weller and Chella, yeah.
I commentated a lot of games for Geelong Galaxy, just freelancing, and Emanuela used to play there in the defence, and they tough as they come. She was absolutely ruthless in that defensive line, so she was great to watch. Jasmine, what about yourself?
I don't know. Dee is an amazing player. I've only recently, met her this year because
who's that?
Her name's Dee. She's our centre back.
She's played in NPL all her life. South Melbourne Galaxy as well.
Yep.
She's a very strong player. She'll put her body on the line. It's amazing to watch her even at training, and trying to see how I could implement anything that she does into my own game. Also, our newly assigned captain, Liv, she's just the energy that she brings on the pitch. She just, it influences the team. It influences the game. We, smiles and laughs, but also serious when we need to be. She sets the tone, gives us good motivation, positive feedback, anything that we need to fix. And, she plays her game really well and always is controlled. So it's good to watch her and play alongside her as well. She plays in front of me, but alongside her.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, that's great. And I loved hearing that, what you said, Jasmine, there, that you look at your teammates and look at what they're doing right and how you can incorporate that into your game as well. And I think that's that power of observations and feeding on that. That's brilliant. It's great to hear. Girls, wishing you all the very, very best. Josip, have you got any more questions?
No, get to bed, Jasmine.
That's a command. That's not a question.
Yeah, whatever.
Girls, we need that 3-second delay. Thank you very much for joining us on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Wishing you absolutely all the very best for season 2022. And Ivan, heads are going to roll if we don't get promotion into VPLW for next year. The expectations.
Inaugural season.
All the very, very best. It is a huge jump from State 3 to State 1, but if anyone is capable of it, I'm sure it is you guys there. Well done, and thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks
for having us.
Thanks, guys.
The North Geelong women's team, obviously a team very, very dear to your heart, Josipa, and to mine as well. Great to see things going so smokingly well there with the women's side of things at Elco Park with the North Geelong Warriors. It's great. It's good. This year we're going to be able to see a Croatian derby amongst the girls as well, with Dinamo, St Albans Dinamo and North Geelong both.
What a pity the Women's League that hadn't started last weekend.
Yeah.
How good would that been? Dinamo versus North in women's, the Knights v Dinamo in the men's. Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. And now a little bit of late news coming as well, and it's in the comments section. Thank you to Maxi Santich, who is now the coach of the Gorspic Bears, and we had him way back in episode one of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. So Maxi, I think he's been watching us every episode. Elco Park Cardinals, which is North Geelong Warriors affiliate, if you like. They are
regional team, yeah.
Regional team. They are hosting the Gorspic Bears in a friendly this Friday at 8 p.m. at Elco Park, and they'll be followed by drinks in the club room. So if you're in the Geelong area, make sure you pop down to watch the friendly between Alco Park Cardinals and Gorspich Bears. I might have to dart out. I'm just literally 5 minutes away, so might have to dart out and catch up with all those.
We'll have to get
lovely
Clutch
folk.
onto it, mate.
You might have to get Clutch TV and do a bit of streaming. Absolutely, absolutely. Josip, that brings us to the end of our show. It's been an awesome show. So much has
Big
been
shout out to Ivo
covered.
Spanicek, mate. Whilst we're talking about comments, Ivo reached out to us too to let us know that Hurstville got to play their game in that Australia Cup match at South Coast's ground. So thanks.
Speaking of legends, Ivo Spanicek is a long-time legend of the Wollongong Croatian community, and indeed Wollongong Croatia South Coast United was heavily involved in the Australian Croatian Soccer Association for many years as well. So it's great to see a lot of those living legends still involved with the clubs at various levels. Mate, I'll let you get back to mopping up what's left of the flooding. It hasn't affected you, hopefully not. No?
Nah, mate. No, it's been good, mate.
Okay, all good then. All good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks very much for joining us, Josip. We'll see you next Wednesday night. And thank you to all the viewers who have tuned in tonight. Thank you so, so much. And looking forward to your company again next Wednesday night. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Laku noć.